Welcome into the fourth and final sleeper video, and this is the Canadian division. I've done the other three divisions already. If you want to check out those videos, they are on the channel. Please consider subscribing to the channel if you like the content. It really shows a lot of support. Like the video, that gets the video recommended and shown to more people. And with that being said, let's jump into the first team in the Canadian division I will talk about, and that is the Calgary Flames. Now, when it comes to Calgary, a lot of their good commodities who you want are going pretty high. You got Elias Lindholm, who is no longer a guy you can get later in drafts like you could the last few years. You got Sean Monahan, pretty known. Johnny Gaudreau goes fairly high. Matt Tkachuk goes fairly high. So it really comes down to, in my opinion, Backlund or Mangiapane, because defensively there's not many guys to own on this team besides Giordano, but Giordano is going in the top 100, as he should, in my opinion. He is 1 year removed from the Norris Trophy. But I think Mikael Backlund doesn't get the nod here, purely for the fact he's established. He's like 31. You kind of know what you're getting on Mikael Backlund. He's a consistent 40-point scorer. Whereas I think Mangiapane probably will be in that range as well, but has the ceiling to go a little bit higher than that. He's only 24, still some growth to be had. 17 goals last year in his first full season in the NHL. Was on pace for 20 goals before the shutdown. Was on pace probably for about 40-ish points if I had to guess. Probably a little less, actually. Probably like high 30s. But I expect him to continue growing and developing as he gets used to the NHL game. And being on a line with Matt Tkachuk and Mikael Backlund, those are two solid pros. I expect some points here. Not my favorite sleeper by any means. Definitely just someone I had to put on the list to represent Calgary. He's being rostered in 10% of leagues, so obviously the 1 in 10 people who are selecting in fantasy also agree with me that he probably should be owned. He was owned in my league at the end of the year. And that is my guy for Calgary. We move on to Edmonton. And this is a guy who I don't think a lot of people are going to know about, but I think they will when the season's over. And that is Dominik Kahun. Dominik Kahun is a German, and he's going to be playing with fellow German, Leon Draisaitl. I believe if I read in my research that I did that they actually played together back in the day somewhere. Dominik Kahun was a productive NHL player last year with 31 points in 56 games. And if he's stapled to Leon Draisaitl on this second line, that number is going to go up. Instead of 31 and 56, if he played 56 this year, which if he stays healthy, he should play 56 this year, you're probably looking at mid-40s, maybe high 40s, and if you're lucky, some people can strap themselves to star players and get damn near close to a point per game. So this is definitely a situation fit. Dominik Kahun's not a bad player to begin with. What his goal total will be, I have no idea, to be honest. But I think the point total, you could definitely see high 40s in 56 games, which makes him very ownable and a possible top 100 player just because he's playing with Leon Draisaitl. Edmonton's a land of opportunity, and it's about time someone seizes it, and I think Dominik Kahun has a good shot to seize it. I almost went Jesse Puljujarvi here. I just feel like his role in the top 6 is not as safe as Dominik Kahun's because he has not played an AHL game in quite some time. But Jesse Puljujarvi could be another home run hit. He's also going in the drafts pretty consistently, whereas Dominik Kahun is not at all. Kahun's only rostered in 5% of leagues, and if you're one of those people to roster him, you might look like a genius by the end of the year. We then move on to the Montreal Canadiens, and the Canadiens have a lot of sleepers in my opinion, and I decided to go with Josh Anderson purely for the fact I think he's way too low than he should be, but he's also lower than the other sleepers to the point I thought I should show him some love. Plus, I didn't want to go with Nick Suzuki because I think people are fairly aware of Nick Suzuki. He's being drafted fairly often at the later stages of the draft. And I think this line is going to be a good line in my opinion. You got two guys in Toffoli and Anderson who are very good shooters. You got Suzuki, who is a very good center in himself. He's just a young one. But I think Josh Anderson is the most interesting guy on this line for the pure fact. New team, coming off a shoulder surgery. He just secured the bag. Last healthy season he had, put up 27 goals, 20 assists on a not-so-high-scoring Columbus team. I think the Montreal Canadiens will be a pretty fun team to watch this year. I'm saying that as a Bruins fan. I've grown up hating these guys. But they're not in my division now, so I think I might enjoy watching them a little bit more. I think Josh Anderson is more so, if he stays healthy, which I think he's going to be fine. Surgeons these days usually get the shoulder surgeries done right. They usually come back, and they're usually good. There is the risk of re-injury always, but I'd like to think that Josh Anderson will be fine. Yes, he lays a lot of hits, so a little more sus, but I have faith that Josh Anderson will be healthy, and I'd like to believe that. And when you're picking someone at the 172 spot, you can risk an injury, to be honest, and it's good value. He's a possible top 100 player. He lays hits. If your league counts hits for points, that's big. Goals, he scores, he shoots a lot. And I'm not even looking at last season's stats with Columbus because he was playing injured, and I don't think that's fair to judge him upon. I think it's more fair to judge him upon the year before, and I expect him to put up similar numbers and be a borderline top 100 player this year, and you should think about snagging him. Fun player to have on your team and watch because, or if you're me, I like to see a guy who lays hits, and I think Josh Anderson's a solid player. We move on to Ottawa. And no, I'm not going with Tim Stützle here. I'm going with Josh Norris, who I think is not getting enough consideration in fantasy drafts. He is only being owned in 3% of leagues right now. 2017, 19th overall pick. He's 21. Put up great numbers in the AHL last year. 31 goals, 30 assists. He's ready for the NHL. He will make the Senators. I'm going to say that. It's a matter of where he is on the depth chart, though. Is he third line center, second line center, first line center? I don't know, but he's in Ottawa, and there's a lot of opportunity, and if you're an okay to above average player, you'll probably be in their top 6, and I think Josh Norris should be sent to the moon on the first line, where Daily Faceoff has him listed between Dodonov, an established scorer, and Brady Tkachuk, a rising star. So I really think Josh Norris should probably be drafted at the later stages of your draft, along with guys like Nick Suzuki. I think he should be in that consideration. Whether he does as good as a Nick Suzuki is to be determined, but the fact that he's not even being drafted or considered in that category is kind of head-scratching. I just think people forget about players like this who, get out of juniors or get out of college, play here in the AHL because, they're not fresh. They're not the Tim Stützle who's just drafted. I got the new toy. I want the new toy. I want the Tim Stützle. But you forget about the Josh Norris you already had. And I think that's just kind of what's happened here, and I think Josh Norris will put himself in the front of a lot of people's minds come this season if he secures one of these top-line roles. With that being said, we move on to one of the hardest teams to find a sleeper for, but I think there's two guys who really fit the bill here, and it's Ilya Mikheyev and Nicholas Robertson. Really, whoever is the left wing on the Tavares and Nylander line is the sleeper I'd go with here, and I'm going to put my money on Nick Robertson because I like a goal scorer. Ilya Mikheyev is a good player. He is a good player, but he's a player I think you'd rather have on your third line if you're a Leafs fan. You hope Nick Robertson develops quick and develops fast to the point you can put him on that Tavares Nylander line and he can consistently score like he did in the AHL. He's a more fun option here. He put up 55 goals in the OHL last year. Was a second-round pick, I think. Yeah, second-round pick in 2019 to the Leafs. Played 4 games last year in the playoffs. Had a goal. And it's really not a matter of if Nick Robertson can do it. It's a matter of when Nick Robertson does it and if it's this year. And I think there's a good shot he wins this second line role. He is being drafted in some leagues. 2% of leagues he's being drafted in. 168.6 average. So you can definitely get him if you want him. I think I might wait a little bit to see where he fits in the lines. If he fits on that Tavares line, definitely pick him up. If he doesn't, maybe wait to see if he gets it later in the season. If you're in a league with a lot of Leafs fans, don't even bother because I bet there will be someone who picks him later in your draft. But that being said, I think Nick Robertson's a good prospect. It's just a matter of if or when he becomes a good NHL player. I think he will become. We then move on to the Canucks. And we got a guy who I think is going to surprise a lot of people this year and take Braden Holtby's supposed job. Braden Holtby was not that good last year, which makes claiming Demko to take his job a little bit easier. Holtby had a sub-900 save percentage, which is not that good considering he was playing behind a pretty good Capitals team. Demko, impressive in the postseason. I'm kind of riding the high here. I did that with someone in the last video too, or 2 videos ago, where I'm like looking at the postseason. I'm like, man, if they can build upon that. I think Demko's going to be pretty confident. Fairly average stats in the regular season last year. Under average save percentage at .905, playing as a backup behind Markstrom. But I think the Vancouver Canucks have a lot of faith in Demko. If you don't sign Jacob Markstrom, and then you sign Braden Holtby to 2 years, you are expecting your 25-year-old netminder to take the job. And I think he will. And I think at the 149 ADP, that's not a bad spot to get your third goalie. And you could really hit a home run with your third goalie with Thatcher Demko. If he gets a job and starts the majority of the games, we're talking about a possible top 10 keeper. Do I expect him to be? No. But would it shock me? Also no, because Demko has a pretty high ceiling. It's just a matter of if he wins the job and if he starts the majority of games. And even if the manager, the GM of the Vancouver Canucks has stated that in Vancouver, with the heavy travel you got, which they're definitely going to have that with how much they're going to be going east, it is important to have two good goalies on your lineup. So even if he's not getting the majority of starts, he should get a decent amount of starts. But I think it's his net. I really do. And I think he's going to surprise a few people when he is getting the majority of starts over Braden Holtby. We then move on to the last team, and this is very, very egregiously bad how low Nikolai Ehlers is ranked. 161 ADP. I'm a little ashamed of that. I'm a big Nikolai Ehlers guy. He was second on the team in 5-on-5, so even strength points last year with 53. He only had 5 power play points that whole year. 25 goal scorer, 33 assists. For my money, he might be the best Winnipeg Jets forward this year. Now, Kyle Connor is an elite scorer, no doubt. Blake Wheeler, elite playmaker, big body, no doubt. Mark Scheifele, whole package. You got Patrick Laine, the sniper. Winnipeg is loaded in their top 6, and that is why you can never sleep on Winnipeg. They retool their defense. Connor Hellebuyck's a rock. You're looking at a pretty solid team that could get back to where they were a few years ago. It wouldn't take a whole lot, to be honest, when you look at this roster and the tools they have. It's basically just building around it. But if Nikolai Ehlers can break this goddamn loaded first power play unit, take Josh Morrissey out there, just load it with 5 forwards. I don't care. I know it won't happen, but I would love to see it for fantasy purposes. Nikolai Ehlers is extremely talented. Finished in the top 100 last year. No doubt in my mind he will this year as well. Breaks into that power play. He's a top 30 player, top 40 player in my mind. He's that good. If you give him the power play points last year that like a Blake Wheeler or Kyle Connor had, he's over 75 points last year. Sadly though, he needs to find a way to break into this power play unit to be in that tier, but I think even without it, just the way he drives play at 5-on-5, this is a top 100 player, no doubt, and he's a great pickup if you get him in the 14th round where he's projected to go. That's all I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed my video about fantasy sleepers in the Canadian division. I went a little off the board with some of these picks, or maybe it's surprising. I mean, not many people are going to be talking about Andrew Mangiapane or Dominic Cahoon in their videos, but I am, so hopefully that makes me a little unique to the point you like the videos. Again, thanks for the support the channel's been getting lately. I really appreciate that. Remember, if you like the video, thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video. I plan on posting another video tomorrow. Don't know what it will be on, but we will see. Peace out.